You are now listening to
Chakras and Shotguns.
Welcome to Chakras and Shotguns, the podcast that guides you on a journey of spiritual development and personal preparedness. I'm Mick, a marketer, energy healer, and prepper.
And I'm Jen, a former lawyer, now yoga instructor, and reader of human design and tarot.
We've all heard the expression, wearing your heart on your sleeve. While it sounds like a cliche figure of speech, in reality, we do actually wear our emotions in our outer energy field. And if you find yourself in the presence of the right person, your emotions could be on full display. Today, we're diving into aura reading and speaking with Jacque Hilbrich, a talented aura reader.
But before we get into that, we want to make sure that you're following us on social media. We're very active on Instagram and we're building our TikTok account brick by brick. So our Instagram is at Chakras and Shotguns, and TikTok is a little sensitive. So our username is at Chakras Podcast.
Yeah, Jen's been working hard to come up with some funny video content, so definitely check us out there. All right, we're going to start the episode as we always do with a little bit of breathwork meditation to put us into a mindful place.
All right. I usually say find a comfortable seat or lie down. Both of those are great options. You might even want to get into child's pose if that's available to you and you are familiar with that pose from yoga. And we're just going to start by taking some breaths together to ground ourselves, to come into this room, into this body, and prepare our minds to get centered and still. Take a deep inhale in through your nose. Feel your belly expand. Holding at the top, and then exhale that breath out through your mouth. Maybe unhinge your jaw, stick out your tongue. Completely let that breath go. Inhale in through your nose. Getting expansive. And then sigh that breath out through your mouth. Releasing anything that doesn't serve you. And let's do one more together. Inhale through your nose. And this time, seal the lips and exhale that breath out through your nose. Allow yourself to breathe normally. Try to match your inhales to your exhales in length. Find yourself sinking a little bit deeper, becoming a little bit more relaxed. If you're in child's pose and your forehead's already on the ground, maybe rock your head side to side, giving your third eye a little massage. And if you're seated or lying down, maybe tap your third eye with your fingers. The third eye is the seat of our intuition. Its color is purple and it sees. And when our third eye is open, we have a clearer line of sight into what should we do next? Or is this person right for me? Or is this situation right for me? Or how do I feel about this opportunity? It's a clear knowing that is a gift that we all have if we nurture it. and we tune in to the wisdom that we have to give to ourselves. And find some stillness. Maybe putting your palms face up to receive. And allow yourself to observe. All right, you can always come back to this practice anytime you sit down for meditation, but we're going to wrap up this time together. Start wiggling your fingers, your toes. If you're in child's pose, maybe roll your hips and your wrists and your shoulders. And find yourself in a comfortable seat. And allow yourself to start to come back into the room. If you still feel a little up in the clouds, maybe turn your palms back face down onto your body to ground. Welcome back. Let's get into the rest of the show.
Great work again, Jen.
Thank you.
So today we welcome Jacque Hilbrich to the show. She is a gifted 29-year-old psychic, medium, and aura reader with over 7 years of professional experience. Since childhood, Jacque has possessed a natural ability to see energy and tap into her intuition. Jacque is super talented, and her accuracy has led to her predicting significant life events such as moves, births, and promotions for clients all around the world.
Yeah, if you've ever thought about getting your aura read or your aura photographed, this episode is for you. Jacque is great. So let's get into it. All right. Welcome, Jacque, to the show. We're so happy to have you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to dive into stuff today.
Yay. So can you tell the listeners a little bit about your gifts and how you discovered them?
Yes, so I am a psychic medium and an aura reader. I've been extremely intuitive since I was around 5 years old. That's the first time I remember actually seeing energy with my physical eyes around someone. And I became very sick around like the age of 12. Totally shut my abilities down while dealing with a chronic illness. I was like in and out of the hospital, really just an intense period of like isolation for me, and went through a bit of a spiritual awakening during that time, even though my gifts were closed down. And as I kind of recovered from my chronic illness, I began to wonder if I could use specifically the aura reading and seeing energy to help people. So once I was fully recovered, I began just like doing practice readings on, acquaintances and friends, and started realizing I was getting very accurate information, and I was really bringing through like this profound sort of healing energy for these people that I was interacting with. And I started taking the gifts a little bit more seriously. So I started doing readings at a local crystal shop for like $15, and I became booked out for like 2 months. And again, had like a second realization of like, okay, I got to start taking this stuff a little bit more seriously. So I began diving into not only energy reading and seeing auras, but began doing psychic readings and predicting things that would happen, down the road for people very accurately, and moved into the online space, and things just kind of took off from there, and we're here today.
Got it. So a couple of things you mentioned that stood out. We have listeners who have gifts, and they may or may not have shut them down at different periods. And they may also be looking for help along their journey. So if there's anything you can speak to around how you actually reactivated your gifts, or if you had any help along the way from a mentor to kind of get you along your path?
Yeah, I definitely feel like finding a good mentor is, I mean, it's one of the biggest things that helped me with my journey, especially when you have 1,000 questions when you're first starting and you're like, what does this mean? What does this mean? So definitely finding a trustworthy mentor, somebody that you really resonate with, is a good first step. I also started keeping track of any intuitive nudges that I got, as I was going about my day. I started really, writing them down in a journal. So I was able to look back on things and realize that what I was predicting was actually coming true later. And that helped me kind of gain my confidence in my abilities. So those are the two biggest things for sure, I think, when you're first starting out, is finding a mentor and just kind of diving into writing down everything that you're experiencing.
Jacque, I want to go back. You said you first started noticing that you could see energy at the age of 5. Did you tell your parents? What was that like?
So I have a really distinct memory of going to my mom and being like, I'm seeing colors around people. And she was like, don't tell anyone. Don't tell anybody that this is happening. And I was like, what? Why? And so obviously she just wanted to protect me and didn't want me to, get bullied or, have people think I was crazy. But luckily for me, my older sister was extremely intuitive as well. So she is quite a bit older than me. And when she was younger, she had experiences astral projecting and seeing energy in a similar way to me, which led my mom down kind of a rabbit hole of her own spiritual awakening, researching all of this stuff. So when I, was 5 and I came to her and I was asking these questions, she actually did have answers for me of like what was going on, which was really helpful. I think that was a big part of why I was really able to embrace my gifts at such a, young age, was because I did have more of an open-minded family to kind of go to talk about these things with. But at first they were like, do not tell anybody that this is going on.
Wow. Yeah. We have a almost 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old, and they have, they'll tell us things. They've shown signs of intuition, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully, we went through our own spiritual awakening when one was very small and one wasn't even thought of yet. So, so we're like, okay, tell me more. So I'm always interested when people talk about getting gifts very young, like what that process was like and what that journey was like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was really important for me, just to be able to talk about things, even if my mom hadn't had these, answers to all these crazy questions. Just being able to talk about it felt like I was able to really embrace it. So maybe that'll help you guys out with your little angel babies. That's awesome.
All right. So let's jump into aura reading a little bit more. Just for folks who may not be familiar, can you just explain what aura reading is and some of the information that you can get from just viewing someone's aura?
Yeah, so I can get a lot of information now that I've been doing this, professionally for a few years. An aura is basically just an energetic field that everybody has. Living things have an energetic field around them. Even inanimate objects have an energetic field that's much smaller, obviously. But for people specifically, everybody has about a 3 to 5 foot energetic field that surrounds them. And whatever sort of frequency or vibration the person is at will correspond to a color. So I'm able to pick up on, personality traits and things that people are going through. I'm also able to see blocks in, the energy centers, the chakras that go down the center of the body. And I've seen some really crazy, physical stuff manifest on an energetic level that I've been able to help my clients kind of prevent from getting, worse by telling them to go see a doctor before it got too serious, things like that. So there's a lot of information I can get. And most of the time with aura reading, it's just trying to figure out, how to get people out of like this energetic funk that people get in, because a lot of people don't know how to like cleanse their energy or ground themselves. So that's usually kind of what I'm helping to guide towards with, the help of my spirit guides and things like that.
So you talked about some of the things, the kind of the gunk that can get into our auras. I think a lot of people are like, what does my aura look like? And they don't realize that it's ever changing, is what I have been told. So what are some ways that we can improve our energetic field or become more higher vibrational or more positive? What are some tips and tricks that you give your clients?
The majority of the people that I see, I'll usually recommend one, an Epsom salt bath or a salt scrub in the shower, because that will help to kind of neutralize and cleanse any stagnant or stuck energy in the energetic field. The other thing is doing something grounding. So physical exercise, stretching, yoga. People that do yoga have really clear energetic fields. And I don't know if it's because you're like constantly moving the energy or you're recharging it while you're in these different positions and poses, or if it's just like a constant grounding that's happening. But that's another thing that I recommend a lot to people that are open to it, just because it's easy to do. Physical exercise is a very easy thing to add into your daily routine that can help really get people out of their heads and ground out any excess or stagnant energy that they may have. So those are the two big things that I give to my clients as advice. And then obviously working with crystals and smoke cleanses, things like that are also really good for helping to balance that out as well.
Got it. I had read before that our energetic field has multiple layers. And so is that visible to you? Do you see differences in the layers, or do you kind of just see it as like one picture?
So when I first started, I was only able to see like one layer. And as I got a little bit more advanced, I'm able to see multiple layers in people's energetic fields. So what I like to call, the first two layers I like to call the personality layers, that don't change very often in my experience, unless people go through big life changes or life experiences, then they usually will shift. But the outer layers, the 2 to 3 outer layers that people have, are usually associated with the emotional state that they're in or things that they're currently going through at that time. So with those outer layers specifically, I'm able to pick up on what is currently going on with the client emotionally, or if there's some things that they're uncertain about, I'll see that. If they're going through a transition in their life, I'll usually see that kind of show up as well. So there's a lot of different layers that I can see. I usually see about 5 to 6 per reading that I do. So yeah, it can give you a lot of information.
Wow. You mentioned when you first started that you could only see the first couple layers. So were there like exercises that you had to do to kind of build that strength up, or any resources you can point us to tell folks?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah, totally. So I actually, when I was going through my chronic illness, I remember I pinned this aura reading exercise on my ceiling, and I would lay in bed and I would do this exercise like every night before I went to bed, because I was like, maybe I'll use this one day. Like maybe I could strengthen it. So that is something that I can definitely send you guys, and it's really, really easy. You're basically just training your vision to see the aura physically. And it's kind of something that it's almost like you're training your peripheral vision a little bit more with the exercise. But I also think that people can see energy clairvoyantly if you train that as well. And that's how I see most of the energy now when I do readings, is I, see it in the same place where you would imagine what an apple looks like. That's kind of the same spot that I'm scanning people's energies. So for me, that's a little bit easier because I can do remote readings for people that are, all over the world. It allows you to connect with more people. So if the physical eyes and seeing auras that way doesn't work out, clairvoyantly is definitely the next best thing for sure.
Yeah, you talked about remote readings, and we had an aura photography session. And it was like with one of those devices that scans your aura. Have you ever seen those? Or do they actually work? Are they legit?
So there are some that are legit. There have been a couple of clients of mine that have gotten a reading from me. I used to draw the energy layers out and send everybody a picture. So people got like a little keepsake. So people would come and get a reading from me and then go get their aura photography done, and it would match up. So there are some of these machines out there that are for sure very accurate, but I feel like there are one or two that I've seen that it's like always red or people are always yellow, and I'm just like, not everybody has the same like color like that. So I think it depends on which machine you're using, but there have definitely been some accurate pictures that I've seen with that.
So I'm like, and forgive me if you've somewhat answered this already, but
Yeah.
in your aura, I feel like it's kind of a snapshot of where you are right now, or like what might have happened to you in the past.
Mhm.
Are there things in your aura that can like tip you off to, oh, maybe you're ready for a relationship, or maybe you're ready for a career change or something like that, that can kind of tip you off to what's coming?
So sometimes I will pick up on psychic information just from interacting with somebody's energy, but it's more of an intuitive download. I haven't ever seen somebody's heart chakra like open up and been like, oh my gosh, like you're ready to be in a relationship with this person. But I have seen things like a girl came in who had just gone through a massive breakup. And I knew immediately because her energy was all magenta, which for me is it's a color that I associate with either uncertainty or rebuilding your foundation of self. And I also see it as a transition color, but it's such a rare personality color that when she came in, I knew immediately upon seeing her energy that something big had happened. And as I was intuitively feeling into the energy, I could pick up that it was a breakup that she had just gone through. So I haven't really seen anything specifically that's like, yes, you're ready for this, or this transition is coming up. That's more stuff that I'll get like psychically as I'm interacting with the energy and feeling it, but nothing specifically like symbolic that will come up that will show me that X, Y, or Z is coming.
Got it. So it's interesting. You mentioned being, psychic and be able to get these psychic downloads through your intuition. I know you also mentioned that you're a medium. How do those kind of gifts play with each other? Are they like different muscles that you can kind of use and turn on and turn off, or like how does it all fit together?
Yeah, definitely. I think that they do kind of work in tandem with each other. And there are times when I'll be doing an aura reading for someone who comes in with a really, intense dark blue grief layer. And immediately I'll be able to pick up on a loved one that's passed. So it just kind of, they do kind of play with each other. With psychic information, I do feel more, I see more, and I also hear clairaudiently. And with mediumship and connecting to people's loved ones that have crossed over, I almost exclusively work clairvoyantly and clairaudiently. So I'll see images or symbols, I'll see the person, and I'll hear things just because the way that I get the information is much more straightforward using those two clair abilities. So I think it's a little bit easier. But with the psychic ability, I definitely go into more of like feeling into the cards or seeing what sticks out for me for this person that is getting the reading. So yeah, I think they all kind of play into each other, and it just depends on, what the person needs that's getting the reading for the day.
Well, since we have you, how do our auras look?
I was so excited. I was hoping that you guys would answer or ask me this question because you both have, first of all, I love doing readings for people that are couples because I just feel like there's something interesting that happens when people that get together, like your energy almost melds a little bit while you're, interacting. You both have very distinct energy. Jen, you are so incredibly purple. You're one of the most purple people I think I've ever seen, which is very intuitive. It's very psychic energy that is being channeled into something. I see this a lot with people that are practicing, or doing tarot or psychic readings or mediumship readings for people. And you do have green a little bit as well, this light green, which is healer, empathic energy. And they're both, I mean, they're like pretty balanced, like suspiciously balanced, I like to say. So I like that that's going on. I mean, it looks very good. I think you have a little bit, maybe just a little bit of stress in the mental region, not anything too bad, but those are your kind of two main colors that I'm seeing. And then Mick, for you, you are incredibly light green, okay? So light green is more associated with like healer energy and, like I was saying, that empathic energy. It's also this like bookworm learning sort of energy. I see it a lot with people that are, nurses or teachers or people, that are really empathic. So that is your main energy. You also have a little bit of yellow and a little bit of dark blue, which I was definitely expecting to see, because I feel like you're maybe a little bit more up in your head than Jen, maybe a little bit more of an overthinker than Jen. But yeah, those are kind of your main three that I'm seeing for your personality layers. So
good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Not right on?
Yeah, I think so.
I needed to hear that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Since you're also a psychic medium, there's always this, I always like to ask the mediums that I know, like, do you see anything that we collectively need, like as people in 2023? Like, what do we need to be cognizant of, or what might be on the horizon? I mean, more love and light is always necessary, but sometimes people are like, hey, I kind of see this coming down the pike. That's my corporate speak, but yeah.
So I stopped getting world predictions after I had a really intense prophetic dream a few years ago. Okay. But I will say that, I mean, man, I just feel like we need more compassion. I don't know what happened after everything with the pandemic, but I just feel like people have gotten into this sort of me mindset again, and just, I'm so cognizant as I go about my day of like being more compassionate to people, because you really don't know what other people are going through. So that's the only thing I can really think of. I know that's such a cheesy, like cliche, light worker answer. But man, I feel like compassion is something that people are missing right now a little bit. So as much as you can, just thinking of other people, obviously. But I don't see anything, big or crazy. I do feel like a lot of energies are going to shift in the fall, just because they almost always do. And with everything that's been going on, globally, I do feel like we are probably headed into a bit of a shift in the fall and the winter. And not to like scare anybody or anything, but definitely something to just be mindful of, that things are going to probably get a little bit harder before they get easier.
That makes sense. Yeah. Cool. Well, Jackie, thank you so much. Where can people find you if they want to follow you on social media or want to book a session with you? What's the best way to do that?
So everybody can find me on my website at etherealjacque.com, and on TikTok at etherealjacque, and on Instagram at etherealjacqueyt. And I do have a coupon code for anybody that wants to book a reading for 20% off with the code podcast. And thank you guys so much for having me on today. This was so fun.
Thank you again to Jackie for joining us. We hope you guys really enjoyed that interview.
Yeah, one thing I love about readings is that you can get readers to confirm other things that other readers have told you. Mm-hmm. So when she said, I'm very intuitive, Mick is very much a healer just by reading our auras, it was like, well, sure, yeah, we've been told that. And also it was confirmation that we're living in alignment with what we're supposed to be doing, because we're doing exactly that. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, one thing we did not capture in our conversation, we were talking to Jackie after, and she brought up, and it was kind of urgent. She was like, that thing that y'all are planning on doing together, mm-hmm. it's coming sooner than you. And she gave us specifics. Mm-hmm. And these are things that Melanie Esperon has also told us. And yeah,
we're not ready to talk about it publicly on the podcast yet, but no, there's some big things coming in the works for us. So
yeah.
we'll be
Big
announcing.
physical things that I'm like, when? How? Okay. It's coming. Sure. All right. So yeah, Jacque is the bee's knees.
All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. One quick reminder to follow us on Instagram at Chakras and Shotguns and on TikTok at Chakras Podcasts.
And finally, if you're loving the show, please subscribe and give us 5 stars wherever you listen.
Namaste.